Good evening to all, man. If you are new to my page, welcome to the page, man. If you're returning or if you're a subscriber, um, thank you for sticking with the page for this long. I'm going to get more honest on my content, and I'm going to talk more, be more expressive about things, and tell more close stories, and that's where this title and this subject comes in. Is dating women in the Philippines worth it anymore? Before I dig into it, let me say that there are many other attractions in the Philippines that's much more worth it than dating. Um, you could go whale watching in Cebu, really good. You could go to any of the province and learn how to plant trees, and you could see thousands of banana trees and mangoes. You could play basketball with different people and kids and everybody at the multiple locations, and you get a different perspective of the game. People play without shoes a lot of times out there. Um, yeah, man. There's a lot. You could try different food. You could box. It's a lot of other. You could go island hopping on the plane, and it's not going to cost an arm and a leg. A lot of other things you could do in the Philippines that don't include just going out there to date. And a lot of those things that I mentioned was the reasons were reasons why I went. A small part of my trip did include going on dates, but that's not the sole reason why I did go to the country, to the Philippines, man. Let me also say that I tend to over explain myself because I don't want to hurt feelings. But when I over explain myself, I kind of, people lose track of where I'm going at with the point. So I'm going to get to the point. Some of it might sound brutal, but I just have to tell the truth just to get my point across. But I hope we are adults about this and we understand that I don't mean any ill intention with anything that I say. Um, I don't have anything pre-written, so this is all like honestly from the heart. But yeah, digging into it, I'm getting more comfortable here. I'm at the park, and there's a lot of people walking around, but they just gonna have to hear it. But yeah, getting to the point, is it worth it dating women in the Philippines? Now, you have to first think about why do men go to the Philippines to date in the first place. And like I said, I'm going to be brutally honest. So in the Western world, like America, dating has become trash. There, a lot of men, including myself, just feel that dating is trash, and a lot of men and women in the Western world are not valuing each other, and people are hurting each other, and a lot of people are damaged, and they're trying to build on damage, and hurt people. So it's a lot of good, like I'm just gonna speak in the shoes of a man. There's a lot of good men out here that didn't hurt women, that want to be with women at a respectable, not respectable because that sounds degrading, but they want to be with a woman at a point of her life when she can still maybe bear children, where she's not damaged by too many bad relationships. Um, yeah. Also, they a lot of men feel that there are too many like expectations and unreal expectations. For example, a huge requirement in dating in America, a lot of women will want a man that makes like 200,000 a year. When if you just look at 150,000 a year, I think it's only like 12% of men make that much. And how many of those men are actually like straight that make that much? And if you look at 120,000 or 100,000, the percentages are very, very small, like 15%, 18%. And a lot of times those guys that do make that much, they have certain requirements and certain replacement women in their lives. And when these women do go for those kind of guys that make like the millionaires and the ball players, it damages them. And then a lot of time these women turn 30, 40, 50, and they're just like damaged. I'm not saying all women, but they're just like damaged, and they still have a certain like requirement. Um, as far as dating it, it's just a lot of guys will say like unreal expectations, right? So it's a lot of Western men, not just in America, but there's always men like around the world who feel that they have the same problems in their country, and they go to the Philippines because the Philippines has always been associated with women at a point in their life where they're like, like young enough to bear children. Um, they're not associated with having like so many like expectations and unreal expectations. Um, and in contrast to like America, they embrace the traditional role. Well, they used to be associated with embracing the traditional role, such as being a housewife. When you do talk marriage, or seeing no problem with like cleaning, doing laundry, and remaining home and taking care of the kids and household chores. And that's not to talk bad about American women that don't want to do that. It's just that a lot of American women are wanting traditional man, but they don't want to do traditional roles. They don't want to be traditional women like to stay at home or things like that. And a lot of men say it's a lot of masculine characteristics that come with being with a woman like that. Again, this is not to judge. This is just what I hear. I do a lot of interviews, and this is also something that I like observe. And there's nothing wrong with the women that don't want to be traditional. Women have rights, and when things don't make sense, when arguments happen, when divorce happen, it makes a lot of sense to seek love elsewhere. So, with that said, a lot of men do travel all the way to the Philippines because Philippines has always been associated with, like I said, the women at that point of their life where they immediately see like the value in man, um, even at an early age, to where they have like that safe pregnancy range. They don't mind having those traditional values. They're friendly, cooperative, and fit. So a lot of men typically, throughout history, a lot of men go to the Philippines to seek that. I went to the Philippines last year, December 19th, 2025, and I returned January the 15th, 2026. And I have went on dates out there. I enjoyed the life, man, but as far as going on dates, I have went on dates. I have talked to a lot of women, and I'm going to tell you guys the truth. If women are still like that out there, the destinations that I arrived at, if you guys heard of these destinations, I was in Cebu. That's a very popular um, place in the Philippines. I also been to Manila. That's also that Manila and Cebu. Those are the more popular areas in the Philippines that a lot of people go to. Some side places I went: Naga City, that's close to Manila. That's like a hidden province that not many people know about, but it has been associated with traditional women, and like some men even say like conservative women. Um, and then went to Dumaguete. And Dumaguete is one of those. It's more closer to Cebu, but it's also one of those like hidden areas where, you know, it's a lot of women there. But let me say this: men are always going to be associated with their money, just like women are typically going to be associated with their looks. When one side overplays it, like when one side uses what they have to their advantage, it creates a like sort of a battle environment, and that's been like the problem in America, right? That's why you have like these women that get offended when a guy would take them to Red Lobster when they're like in their early 20s, and some even in their 30s, but when they turn 45 they're more okay with going to Red Lobster. But that man has already like put in his head like, why do that when he could go for like the new 21-year-old, and she'll be okay with like a Joe's Crab Shack or something. So in America, the provider role costs a lot for men. The provider role does cost a lot for men. So um, compare that or contrast that to the Philippines. It is still a provider role, but it costs a lot less. It costs a lot less. Not other times it's going to be like gold diggers just because a male is going to be a provider or expected to be a provider as far as the dates, bills, and whatnot, and finances. But there are a lot of gold digging things that go on. But just being that provider role, let's say if the women do have like equal expectations, it costs a lot less in the Philippines. It costs this much less. Like just if a woman in America wanted to get her nails done and her hair done, if that's like a $400 weekend or just those two things, hair and nails costing 400 in the Philippines, that much would feed a woman in her family for like a month or two or something like that. Um, with that said, though, once a man does not provide, it doesn't matter where you are. I thought in the Philippines that it was like some understanding that it takes time for a man to know someone and to card someone before he gets to that provider role. But in the Philippines, not you could tell me if this is the case for any of you guys that been out there, but women that I got to know and that I dated, um, a lot of them were dating foreigners, and once those foreigners stopped dedicating, finances and time, that's what made them more open to going on dates with me. And I didn't know um, immediately that they were in relationships. I figured these out when we were going on dates. And yeah, once you stop developing, once you, like, if you're a foreigner and you're dating like a woman in the Philippines, if you're unable to have that presence there because of like work or whatnot, and you're unable to retire out there to where you're keeping eyes on your girl, you are at a high risk for her to go linger out for her needs, for her physiological needs, and also if you're not providing, like if you blow all your money on the women in the Philippines, just like you do in America or Europe or any of these countries, um, a lot of the women are still going to go to the next guy with the money, and this is why a lot of men in their countries, being judged on their money, judge women on their looks, and um, when you encounter a woman like that, it makes you, you seeing that you're being judged on your identity. So then it becomes this like weird chess game to where like, all right, now a lot of men judge women on their looks. That's why, typically in the Philippines and also in Thailand and even in Tijuana where I went, it's a lot of jobs or it's a lot of bars, restaurants where they don't hire women over 26, or they let them go because uh, the male clientele or customers from these America or European country, they don't want women that are over 26, and business goes slow. And yeah, basically they just judge women off their looks. But it sucks that things are like that. But even in the Philippines, you're going to find yourself still playing that chess game. Um, Naga City was associated with being like the bigger conservative, traditional woman type thing. That's in Bacol. That's close to Nagas. I mean, that's close to Manila. Uh, Even women out there would try to use you for your money. I'm not saying that's the case with all of them, but I seen, once people get something about money, does things to people. They say money is the root of evil. I say money is the vehicle of evil. Like it just shows people's true colors. Um, yeah, and even there, man, I watched a lot of videos of like the beautiful young women that looked like they were marriage material. And again, I'm not speaking for all of them, but once people get, in the Philippines, they didn't have social media. They didn't have like the funds to have the iPhones and see so much on social media, on Instagram. And I believe that these social media, these gadgets are cursed because it it gets in people's head. Like once someone gets attention, especially like you see in America, it gets to their head. Like once you get 1,000 people messaging you, then 10,000, it makes you unable to value that one person because you're getting so much attention that you're weighing your options, and that's okay. But what it does is now men weigh their options where, okay, like, they'll see like a beautiful young Filipino that's like 21 and she's really good. But once she gets her hand on the phone and gets that social media attention, now you got a lot of guys from Europe, a lot of guys from America, Brazil, or wherever around the world coming in. And that's one of the biggest, because Filipinas have been associated, especially in the Philippines, have been associated with being feminine, fit, understanding, loyal, and conservative, and things like that. A lot of men from around the world uh, overcrowded the Philippines and start going there, retiring there. And one of the things that has caused is those women now are approached by hundreds of men every day in person and thousands online every day or every week. And it makes it even hard for them to take one man serious because they're getting so much attention and it's getting to their head to where you met like a traditional, like cool lady, young lady, and then 1 week later after getting exposed to Instagram, now she's probably posting a lot online, and I'm not saying anything is wrong with that, and she's probably ignoring most of the dudes that take her serious, that's really good suitors for her. She's kind of ignoring them more, and she's probably like 19, 20, 21, 22, and then they get in that same pattern as like the women in America, to where like the attention gets to them, and when they turn the age like 30, now guys are, they can't say that this woman used to be traditional and give them points for that because they let the attention get to them. So now the guys are, instead of building on something that makes a lot of sense that the Filipinas and the Philippines had the advantage of, they let the attention get to them, and now the men are looking for even the new young Filipina, and that's the same chaotic trash trash scenario that dating in America has turned to. Um, yeah, basically trying to say that social media has ruined a lot of, not just in America but also in the Philippines, the women in the Philippines. I'm not saying it ruined them as far as their value as women, but it just, what men think the traditional role that Philippine, no, women in the Philippines are so accustomed to having. I don't want you to be disappointed and go and find that that's not the case. That you're gonna spend a lot on your tickets. You're gonna like have all of this hope, but social media would change. Social media attention and money would change anyone. It'll almost change anyone. I would say it'll change 90% of the people, and it could, I don't want you to have like, I always say like expectations of people could lead to disappointment, and it could make you, it could affect your life. Don't have the expectation that people are this perfect thing. Everybody, wherever you go in the world, is capable of doing whatever. So don't have like perfect expectations on people because you don't want to be led to like disappointment. And that's that. um, there are areas out there called the province. There are areas called the province, and the province are like the more, um, I'm going to use this term, but when I say poor, I don't mean poor in a bad way. Like me, I grew up poor, and poor is like God's blessing to me because like you start learning how to plant seeds, you start learning the value of the environment, the value of rain, the sun, the wind, the noise of being outside. You learn how to plant fruit, you learn how to fish because you don't have money to go buy these things. So there's an area, there are areas in the Philippines that they call the province, and the province in the areas are basically the poor areas. Kids are much happier having less things compared to these gadget kids in America. Like when I went to the Philippines, the kids were enjoying throwing rocks and enjoying walking the streets with no shoes on, playing basketball with no shoes on. They were so in touch with reality. They would climb trees, they would plant trees. So basically, I say those provinces, aka like the poor areas within the Philippines, are one of the best places you would want to go to find a traditional woman that's not so corrupted with technology and social media attention and Instagram attention, TikTok attention, and money because they don't simply have access to it. But unfortunately, even within a province, and that's one of like the hopeful. I'm not saying being poor is hopeful, but that's one of the places where you hopefully wanted to find like a, like a really like godly like woman. But even I've seen a lot of cases where even when women in the province get a hold of a phone and like social media and attention, it kind of like changes them too. So I would say focus on like the province areas, talk to the community to find out what I mean about that. But even within that, um, you can't compete with social media attention. It could be the most precious girl. Something about that social media attention or attention in general could get to like anybody's head. And I like to compare like a lot of people dating in the Philippines to Thailand. People date in the Philippines. There's this saying like go to Thailand to have fun and go to the Philippines to date. And I would say that I get it when people say that, and that was kind of like my angle of when I go to the Thailands and the Philippines. But I believe that Thailand had a little more integrity of what to expect. Like in the Philippines, it is like it's easy to get lied to. I'm not saying this happened to me, but I interviewed a lot of people. It's easy to get lied to because they have that whole expectation of like people go out there to find love, whereas in Thailand, uh, it's already like a reputation of it's just fun. You're gonna have fun. It's a transactional um, type of thing. Like you're probably going to go to a bar, hit it off with a girl, buy her a drink, and then whatever happens from there happens. That's also how it goes a lot of the time in the Philippines. But I feel like Philippines compared to Thailand, when people say like go to the Philippines for love and Thailand for fun, that could be misleading because a huge part of the Philippines is also like transaction. I'm not saying like anything illegal goes on, but you are um, like if you take a girl on like a certain expensive date, you're going to just like any other guy, you're going to be able to do whatever you know um, and same like in Thailand, if you go to like you could impress a bar girl by buying her like a lot of beers. Me, I don't go do that, but yeah, just the only difference is that in Thailand it's expected to be a transactional relationship, just like how in America, if you got all of the money, you're more capable of doing, getting away with, not getting away with because that sounds horrible, but you're more capable of the women being more compliant to doing whatever the guy wants to do. Um, yeah, man, I hope what I'm saying is making sense. I just wanted to be like completely honest. I don't want to make this video too long. I tried to get straight to the point. If you could subscribe to the page, that'll help a lot. Like, comment what you think. Do you agree? Did I help you? Do you plan on visiting the Philippines? Do you have any questions? Is there anything that I missed on? Did I sound disrespectful? Also, turn on your notification bell for more videos. I will be going to the Philippines and Thailand again in January of 2027. This time I'm going with somebody. Um, yeah, I have interviews on my page where I did interview women for the Philippines. Let me also add this. There's going to be a lot of women that are going to ask for money in the Philippines, even when it's good women. Um, and then what it's going to do to you now, you're going to compare. You going that same cycle. You're going to like when you feel you being like used for money. Now you're going to look at looks, and then that's where that whole chess game comes on. Like women asking for money, and then now you're asking for a certain look. I'm trying to be like blunt about this and just say how it is. But yeah, look at my YouTube interviews, man. If there's anyone who wants to have a conversation on from my YouTube about their experience in the Philippines, go ahead and let me know. Or in Thailand, um, I would say take the same risk. Take it as the same risk as dating in Thailand. Thailand is associated with a transactional relationship type country. Um, that's kind of how it has turned to in the Philippines, man. How it used to be. Um, I guess it's not like that anymore. You might find some diamonds, like meaning some quality. Not saying that they're not quality, but you might find some traditional women still that are more um, at like childbearing ages, or you might find like just the older women out there are more traditional, and you might find it more convenient to go out there and date the older women. And there's nothing wrong with that. Don't be closed on just trying to date the new young thing. You open yourself up to a lot of risk and competition and things like that, where you might find better opportunity by getting with a woman out there more your age, or just going like 10 years down, like go with a 35 or a 40 or even 50s, man. I would highly suggest that. Trying to make sure I'm not missing anything. I think I hit on everything. Uh, yeah, man, I think I'm going to end it there. Um, I know I keep saying I'm in it. Let me just add this last part. Go out there and just have fun, man. Like, just go out there. If you have had certain expectations and like some games have been played out there and you're not the one that played games, just win the game, man. Like, just go out there. You don't have to play anybody, but as a man, if you get yourself together, your health and your money together, you could go out there and be Hugh Hefner, man. Like, you don't have to do risky behaviors to get STDs, but man, the party is always going to be good if your money is right out there, whether the Philippines or in Thailand. And if someone's not taking, like, if you meet a girl out there that's not taking a relationship serious, um, hey, man, like, that opens the door. As long as you have it good in your heart and you're not getting it back, there's nothing wrong with um, partying out there, man. Like at the end of the day, that's going to be her loss, man. You could go to Soy Six in Thailand. You could get you a nice massage in the Philippines for very, very cheap. You could go on. You could go. Just be careful when you do it. Let me stop it there because I don't want to say too much, and I don't want you guys to get the wrong idea. Think I'm out there doing crazy stuff, but yeah, there's nothing wrong with just taking care of yourself and being single too, man. Like, comment, and subscribe as I said. And to answer the question again, do I think dating in the Philippines is worth it? I'm going to say halfway, man. It's hit or miss, man. Just it's hit or miss. It's really hit or miss, man. And I'm gonna end it there. Peace out, y'all.